so you can play. MiniWarGaming's Beat the Cooler Bat Rap!
And we move into the Eldar Space Marine turn 2. And of course, from here, he calls in his reinforcements. He does not get his Dreadnought, but he does get his Stern Guard. We had forgotten to drop pod assault last time. So, first thing, drop pod lands. This is filled with Stern Guard as well as his commander, which is kind of scary, seeing as they are Space Marines and they've got all kinds of meltas and plasmas and specialist bullets, or specialist bolter rounds anyway. So we rolled to see what kind of water it is, and it's the Hyper Slime. It'll give them feel no pain, but they have to pass leadership checks in order to move and shoot out of it. So the first group here, walking away with all their plasma guns, they step out right there. The other group, they step out with the force commander standing at the front, along with a unit or another combat squad that are all equipped with melta-guns. And they jump out right there. So basically that's what they do. They just climb out, which is what Space Marines do. Over here we've got Fortune going off, and he gets a Perils, but he's got a 3-up Ghost Helm, so he can potentially ignore the effects of it, which he promptly fails. So Eldrad takes a wound. He's down to 2 wounds already, which is nice. Nice to watch someone else fail it. And now we made a mistake there. We went to reroll, but you do not get a reroll against Embolden. So he takes 2 wounds, and that is that. These Terminators rally, so they move 3, and then they get to move 6, so they basically move 9 inches and come running up all the way. Now his Warlocks and Farseer once again move forward. Now we had double checked there because we had thought maybe he could use Embolden to re-roll that, but it's only if you re-roll if you fail to cast your ability. It's not if you successfully cast it but miscast. So you can't use Embolden to protect yourself from that. Difficult terrain. Giant robot walks 6 inches through it. Contemptor Dreadnought. Those are nasty. And now his Dire Avengers. Now his Fire Dragons move up. They are unfortunately snap firing, but he does go up. Now we're in the shooting phase. He runs forward with his scouts, getting into a little bit of cover there, so they can hide out. Not that I'm going to shoot them. They're scouts. What are they going to do, right? The Wraith Lord, 1 whole inch, boop, and that's it for him. Now he's going to use Mind War on my Riptide, which goes off. So Leadership 9, I rolled an 11 altogether. He rolls... Oh, I didn't deny it. There we go. Now we roll. I rolled for Leadership 10, so I take 5 wounds, 5 up invulns. I make 2, but I feel no pain. So I take 3 wounds on my Riptide. I'm down to 2 wounds already. So he then does Mind War a second time because he's Eldrad. So it goes off. Deny the Witch? Nope. And we weren't sure what he rolled there. I didn't deny it. I rolled a 3, so I'm Leadership 12, and he gets dice +2 against me. Didn't make my saves. I have a Feel No Pain, and I failed those as well. So that is the end of Jack. He has gone down. He got scared. That's basically it. Mind Warred him. Mind Warred him too much. The snipers then take shots at my battle suits along with the Farseer that are hanging out there. And he does 1 wound and another wound. So he's got a Rending AP 1, but I get cover saves against these. Feel no pain. And I make it anyway. So we're good. The battle suits here are getting shot by snipers from the other direction, which get a bunch of hits. And another wound, but I get cover for hiding behind the wood. 5 up. Nope. Feel no pain. Nope. So I take a wound, and that guy's down to 1 wound. Nearly dead. Halfway there. Now shooting his meltas into my tank. Hitting on 3s. They're only combi meltas, so he's only got 1 shot at this. So now he's got 3 hits. First one, pen. Second one, pen. Last one, pen. 4+ dodge. 1, 2, 3. You bet I can dodge those. So good old Jink. Now he's shooting meltas at my other guy, and unfortunately it's hitting on 6s because I did Jink, and he did not do any damage. But he gets to re-roll it, and still nothing. He decides he's going to shoot his plasmas against me, which gets a few hits, 6s to glance, and does not get any. And then the Stormbolter snap-fired and missed. Now he's firing his Thunderfire cannon, once again trying to kill a few of my battle suits. The first shot misses, but doesn't hit anybody. Second shot, direct hit, that's 2. Third shot, that's a miss. And the fourth shot, that is a slight miss, and it does miss him. Boop. So he gets 2 hits. 2 wounds, 2 plus save. 1 failed, feel no pain. Makes it. Good old feel no pain. Contemptor Dreadnought now shoots at my guys that are hanging out behind the woods there. And hitting on 2s, re-rolling. Now wounding on 2s. Here are the 3-up saves. They failed 2, 3, feel no pain. Fails 1, so I take 1 wound. That'll be the middle guy because he's closest. And now cover saves because he got rending wounds with those. Which I make 2, feel no pain. I failed that one, so I do take a casualty. Which is actually not bad at all. Now shooting his super las cannon at my rail gun tank, which hits. 2d6, nothing. And leadership, I fail. So they've got to fall back 3d6 towards the table edge. They go huge, and that is it. My guys run off the board. So there goes my Farseer, and there goes my battle suits. My reserves, though, they came in. Fire Warriors are in. So everybody's pretty much showing up on this point. Bombs come in. I decide I'm going to drop 1 bomb on his scouts here, which misses. I do measure it, but 6-inch miss. Do I get another bomb? You bet. Because you always get another bomb. The next bomber flies over, and I decide I'm going to drop a bomb on Eldrad. Bloop, right on top of one of his warlocks there. And it gets a direct hit, so all 4 of them. 2s to wound, because they are only toughness 3, average, and my bomb is strength 5, so 4 wounds, but he does have a 4-up re-rolling save. He fails 1, re-roll, he's good. So everything's fine. I do generate another bomb though, and now my Fire Warriors start showing up. The first few batches, and then there's still 1 more in reserve. Or there's 2 more in reserve, sorry. So these guys come in, and then there'll be another 2 batches to come in, I believe. Now there are 2 units here. I do line them up as though they're just 1 big unit, but there's 2 different units here lined up. And that's what they do. They just line up in their firing line ways. It's all kind of adjust, keeping up their cover saves, as well as getting in a good firing line so they can start blowing away those annoying Stern Guard that tried to kill me. My battle suits, I first think that I'm going to just jump away, and I do because it'll keep me in my rapid fire range of his fire dragons, because they're really what they've got to kill. And then these tanks, they adjust as well, just kind of lining themselves up. And I really hope that he doesn't have a way to blow those up in close combat, but probably just kill them at ranged. My battle suits, along with my commander, now move forward and get in a better position to shoot. So now the shooting phase begins. My battle suits now fire away at the fire dragons, hitting 5 times, wounding on 2s, and they do 4. Now here come the plasma rifles. That's 3 hits, 2s to wound, 3 wounds. So 3 are dead outright, and then he'll get 3 cover saves from that, or 4 regular saves, sorry. But he is kind of ducked behind that wall there, so he decides to go to ground and does not make any cover saves. Or at least not enough. So that is the end of the fire dragons. From there, I text to see if my gun gets hot. Test to see. It does not, and then it gets basically a direct hit on top of those guys. So it gets 5 and 1 guy in the swamp. The first 5, it wounds all of them, and the guy in the woods, or in the swamp, also takes a wound. So the guys in there, they go to ground for a 6-up cover save, which they don't make any. So that unit with the plasmas is destroyed. And then the other guy, he needs to make a 6-up. No, 5-up. He's in the water, so he'll get a cover save. But he also has feel no pain. But he decides he's not going to take the 6-up or the feel no pain. He actually missed it. We rolled it off camera, but unfortunately he did not make that. The other gun does not get hot. I fire another basically submunition round, which does another 3 wounds. First guy fails, he's dead. Second guy. Alright, that guy right in front of his commander. Now he's debating right here whether he wants to lookout sir between the sergeant who it's hitting now and the commander who would have a 3-up invuln. So one or the other. And he makes that save, but fails the last one. So another guy dies, and that's that. I fired the burst cannon, or not the burst cannon, it's the smart missile system, which hits once, wounding on 3s. It does one more save against his commander though, who has a 2+. And he decides he's not going to look out sir this, he just takes it on the commander, which he makes. Unfortunately, it rolled off the board. So I'm shooting my marker light now from my flyer onto his hammers, and then I shoot my my missile pods, which are twin linked, and I get one hit, wounding on 2s. Does a wound. He's got a 2-up save, but first I shoot my drones. So they're going to be hitting on 5s and wounding on 2s. But they are twin linked. So 1 hit, 2 hits, wounding on 2s, 2 wounds. So 3 2+ saves on the Terminators. Here we go. Wow, we got one. There we go. Another Terminator goes down. My other bomber tries to shoot its marker light at Eldrad's unit, misses, then fires its missile pods, which get 1 hit, wounding on a 2, does nothing, and then the drones hitting on 5s, twin linked, no hits, and then 3 hits, 2s to wound, 2 saves. There we go. Wow. And he fails another save, so another Terminator goes down. Now my commander's unit fires at the Terminators, hitting on 3s, re-rolling to hit now. My commander once again opting out of shooting himself so that everyone else can re-roll to hit. Wounding on 2s. They get 4 invulns so far with their plasmas. Now their missiles. Hitting on 3s, re-rolling. And wounding on 2s. 3 more. So 4 invuln saves and 3 regular saves. So here come the regular saves, makes them, and then the 4 invulns. He's got a 3+ because he does have a storm shield, so he just needs to roll a 3-up. And he fails all 4. Now my fire warriors start rapid firing into his stern guards there, which they get a couple hits. Not exactly a good roll, but they get a couple. And then they do 4 wounds. So here we go. Failing. This is the first guy who's closest, not his commander, but he fails his save and the feel no pain. Now it's going on to his force commander, who has he's debating whether he wanted to look out sir, but he does not. He takes 1 wound, feel no pain. So he does take 1 wound, which is nice. Now my other fire warriors also fire, but they are not in rapid fire range. That being said, they're far more accurate and hit half of their shots and do another wound. So 2+ save once again on his commander, which he makes. So that's that for him. Now I'm going to shoot a railgun shot at his commander, point blank, which I hit and wound. And he'll have a 3-up invuln, and then I shoot my missiles, which are hitting on 6s, and they all miss. So 1 invuln. He takes it, and he passes. If he had failed that, it would have been instant death, but he did pass his save, so he's fine. I fire 1 more tank here, the other blast, which does hit and does not get hot. That was that first roll. So it hits the 2 of them. The little guy, I do 1 wound. I wanted to do 2, but I only did 1. His commander then decides that he's going to take that hit. So on a 2+, he's fine, and he is, and that's that. Now at the end of the assault phase, my battlesuits start to jump around again, and they jump over onto the far side of that crater, and then some of them do jump inside the crater just to take a little bit of protection. Dangerous terrain though, they pass it without any problems. And so they hang out in there. Then moving over, my other battlesuit team, they move 6 inches, and they're going to move up a little bit now because I need to get them closer range so they can kill that force commander. Because he is really kind of eating up my shooting. And then at the end of his phase there, he decided that he's going to willingly break his unit, because the Space Marines have that combat tactic, so he chooses to fail his leadership and runs backwards 10 inches. And then, beginning of the Space Marines and Eldar turn, they roll for reserves, which do not come in. but his other unit of warp spiders does come in, which scatters a solid 8 inches away from my tanks and away from my battle suits, which puts him basically right in front of his own tank there. So we're just rolling for his dangerous terrain, which he does fail 1, but he has a 3-up save, which he fails. So one of the spiders does get killed by the dangerous terrain because he landed basically on top of his tank, but there wasn't a way for us to get him to balance. He fails his fortune, but he does realize that he gets a 3rd dice now because my Farseer is dead, so he does pass that. Now the Space Marines, they auto-rally, and they move up again, and they have 9 inches of movement because they move 6 plus the 3 for rallying. The Scouts then move through the difficult terrain there, and then good solid 6 inches headed towards my battle suits to tie them up in close combat so the Wraith Lord as well as everyone else can get in there. But the Terminators are gone now, so he doesn't have that to fall back on. His Wraith Lord then moves up, getting into position, and then the Farseer and then Eldrad and his Warlock Council move up as well, just trying to close the gap. Now he's trying to do Mind War on my commander, which works. This is the same thing that killed the Riptide, of course. And I do not deny the Witch, so leadership plus a dice, and I rolled higher than him, my leadership being 10, his being 10, so we both pass. Oh, he does get it off again for Mind War, but he perils. Ghost Helm does not protect him, so he's down to 1 wound on Eldrad, but he still does get to do Mind War. So dice, he gets a 1, so I beat him. And that's that. Now he's firing a plasma missile at my Fire Warriors, which hits. And so 4 of them right there. Oh no, my mistake, it deviates a little bit here. So it goes 4 inches, which lands right on top of 2 of my battle suits, and does 1 wound. They have a 3+, and they make it. The Scouts fire their pistols. They get 4 hits. Wounding on 4s, they get another 2 wounds. So I have to make a 3+, which I make. And that's that. He fires a Thunderfire shot at my Fire Warriors who are hiding at the far end. He does get a hit. 2nd shot, that's a miss. 3rd shot, that's a hit. And his 4th shot, which goes a little bit down the line. I think it ends up hitting basically the same amount of guys. So he gets tons of hits, but he rolls like 8 ones, so he only does 3 wounds. And 4+ save, they all but one fail, all but one succeed. So 1 guy gets killed, which very good news for me. And now he's trying to shoot my plane with his Contemptor, and I decided to jink, and Disruption Pods give me a 4+ jink, so I dodged 2 of them, and 1 pen got through. Or sorry, 2 pens got through. He did a Weapon Destroyed, which takes out my Marker Light, and then Locked Velocity, so I can only continue moving at the same speed. He then fires at my Fire Warriors with his Commander there, and does a wound to him, who fails it and dies. And that's that. Or actually it was with the drop pod there. Now he's firing the Warp Spiders at my battle suits, which get 2 hits, and then 2s to wound. 2 wounds, but they have a 3+, which 1 fails, feel no pain, and he fails, so he's down to 1 wound over there. Which is unfortunate for those guys, because they don't really have any backup. He then fires his laser gun at my Hammerhead, which misses, but it is twin link, so he hits the 2nd time. Then he gets 2d6 for pen, picking the highest dice. He needs a 4 to glance, and he gets a glance. 3+ jink, because there's all these intervening terrain, which I pass. And that's that. Now he fires his sniper rifles at my Fire Warriors, who are just hanging out over there, which he gets 2 hits on, wounding on 4s, 6s are rending, of course. And he gets 1 wound, 4+. He makes it. Fire Warrior lives. These guys do a leadership check, which they barely pass. And his last surviving Stern Guard runs around. Now he tried to charge me with his commander, but he had to run through that little corner of the water there, so he failed the charge because of that distance. He then tries to charge my battlesuits, which they get to overwatch and kill the first scout, then they shoot with their missile pods, which do not get any hits. So he then actually made this charge. Unfortunately, we missed that dice roll, but he did make the charge. He ends up into the craters and gets ready to attack. These guys did not overwatch because I figured he was going to charge me with the warlocks, and so they overwatch against the warlocks instead. And he barely makes the charge because he does have fleet though. So he didn't make it, and he decides to keep the 1-5 because he's running through difficult terrain. But he does fail that charge, so the Fire Warriors all overwatch, hitting him twice, wounding on 2s, 2 wounds. He's got a 4-up save, which he rerolls and makes them both. So close combat begins. My battlesuit commander challenges his scout sergeant into a fight. The scouts then attack my battlesuits because they do have grenades, of course, hitting on 3s. So they only actually get 2 hits though, because he rolls tons of 1s and 2s. And then wounding on 4s, 2 wounds, and then I've got my 3-up save, which they pass both. Now these guys move over and get to attack the scouts, hitting on 4s, wounding on 3s, 2 wounds, and he's got his 4+, which he fails 1, and so that's the end of that scout. Fight between my commander and the scout over there, the scout sergeant that is. Scout sergeant goes first. He's got 4 attacks right now. 2 attacks, +1 for 2 close combat, or close combat and a pistol, and then +1 for charging. So he hits with 2 of them, wounding on 5s because I am toughness 5 thanks to iridium armor. He does a wound, and I make my save, and so now I'm going to swing back with my bare hands, hitting him 3 times, wounding on 3s as well. 2 saves, 4+, that's it for him, but he does make both of those. So leadership check, and he passes that as well. So they are tied up, which is the worst thing that can happen for me. So my turn begins, the Tau turn, and the Fire Warriors and Avengers do not show up, but the battlesuits are now moving around and getting in a position so they can kill that commander who's creeping around over there. The Hammerheads all adjust, lining up so they can blow away the scouts and the warp spiders that have been hanging out on this end of the board. I just could not decide what it is I wanted to do over here, so I figure everyone adjust around, get a bit more saves, and I don't think that one's going to be able to escape his commander for long, so I might as well just get in a position to shoot him better. This flyer has to fly way over, but he drops his drones as he's flying by. Now, of course, he can't drop any more bombs because of his locked velocity, so he lands way over in the corner just to get out of the way, and because I wanted to get his drones on the board. This flyer, though, he's basically fine, and he flies over, dropping his bombs on the Pathfinders who are hanging out in the woods there. So, blam, 5-inch scatter though, which basically makes it miss, and it deviates off into the open area. Do I make a new bomb? I do, and he's also going to drop his drones out of the back of it as well. The Fire Warriors then move and basically get ready to all fire away at his commander here, because usually if they have a really good save, volley of fire actually makes a better job than powerful fires. But I do start off with my plasma guns, which get 2 hits, and it'll be 2s to wound, but I shoot their missile pods now, hitting on 4s. They get no hits. So 2s to wounds with the Meltas. They get 2 wounds, so he's got 2 3-up saves to make. And he fails them both, but he fails them both, so he's dead. He doesn't have anything going for him. And that's the end of his commander, and that is a Slay the Warlord. The next Hammerhead attacks, does not get hot, and shoots its large blast, which deviates 3 inches off of the middle guy there. So it ends up hitting right in between there. 1 Warp Spider as well as 1 Space Marine gets hit. Space Marine takes a wound, Warp Spider takes a wound. So they're both either dead, but he decides to go to ground, which he fails. And then the Warp Spider, he just takes him off. Oh no, he does go to ground. My mistake there. He did go to ground there. It was right. It was the other guy who did not go to ground. He got killed. My drones then take pot shots at his Dreadnought. And they actually get 2 pens against him because they're shooting him in the back right now. Not that you can tell, but that is the back of it. He didn't make his cover saves, so we immobilized him and made it so he can only snap fire next turn. So basically he can't turn around, and they're going to get to keep shooting him in the back. I then fire my other railgun, which did not get hot, blasting away into these scouts, wounding on 2s now. And there we go. And then the missile pods, of course, shoot, which don't get anything. But the large blast does get a bunch of hits, does do 4 wounds. So he's got to make 4 cover saves, which he fails. And fails. So, unfortunately for him, all but one of the scouts get wiped out from the lucky missile hits, as well as the lucky ion, which has not gotten hot yet, which I mean, I really should at this point. But I do shoot at him with another missile pod, which he, of course, makes his saves. The railgun then shoots the drop pod, which is like +4 to damage it, and just destroys it. Blows up 6 inches, and it actually clips a few of my guys here, 2 of the battle suits. And so they need to make, or well, he needs to wound him on a 5, which he does not. So that is the end of that drop pod, and it is destroyed. The Fire Warriors, who are all just kind of wandering around, decide they're going to shoot at Eldrad and his little posse of Warlocks, who do all have Fortune on them still. Hitting on 4s. Wounding on 2s. He's got 5 4+ saves, which he fails 3 of them, but he gets to re-roll those saves. And he fails just 1, so only 1 Warlock goes down, but we did get one of the Warlocks finally. So there is that. The drones then shoot at his Thunderfire Cannon, hitting on 5s, re-rolling, and then wounding on 4s, which they do 1 wound, and he has a 2-up save, which he passes. So he does get to survive, and that's that for that. My flyer then shoots its missiles at the Contemptor Dreadnought, because I really want to get rid of that thing, because it's going to blow me up if I don't. But unfortunately, I don't do any damage. The other flyer snap shoots its missile pods, hitting on 6s. 1 actually hits, and the other one unfortunately misses. But it does do a wound. He's got to make a cover save here, which he makes. So he lives, and that's that for him. The leadership check for the scout there actually ends up passing, so he stays. And now the close combat begins between the battle suits and the scouts once again, and he does 2 wounds with his scouts, which I fail 1, but I do feel no pain. So I do take a wound though, because I failed that as well. And now my battle suits will get to attack back, hitting on 4s. They get tons of hits, wounding on 3s, and they get 3 wounds. So he's got to make 3 4+ saves, and he makes 2 of them. So only 1 of the scouts gets killed. And now once again the combat between the Scout Sergeant and my Battlesuit Commander. Scout Sergeant attacks first. He hits once, wounding on a 5. He does a wound, so I need to make my 2+, which I pass. And now I swing back, hitting on 4s, getting 2 hits, and then wounding on 3s for another 2 wounds. So he's got to make 4+ once again. And he does, so he's still alive, still hasn't been killed yet, but I keep trying. And now, at the end of the assault phase, my other battlesuit team, they get to jump back, just kind of take cover, and I do want the wounded guy to be second in line, so at least I can get saves, or at least have a little bit of a chance. And then my drones adjust a little bit, and they fly over and stare at his Tech Marine, and then the other drones, I was really debating where I wanted them to go, and I ended up deciding just to kind of not go quite into the terrain, but just kind of run up against it in case something tries to shoot at them from the other side of it. So stay tuned for part 3 and see the conclusion to this 2,500 point game.